Kyle here, AA0Z. I had some questions on the Mountain Topper MTR4B version 2, so I'm going to go over the specs and the menu system, so stay tuned. All right, let's go over some of the specs. We will review some of the connections and the buttons here. I'm going to do review some of my accessories, and then we'll get into the functions. So the device is, I believe, let's see what it's, so 5.1 inches wide, it's 3 inches deep, and 1 inch thick. It is a very sturdy metal housing. You could literally throw this down a flight of steps, and I'm sure it would probably survive. You change the bands from these switches. So that just sent to 3. So I need to push all of these switches to the 30, which is the second one over from the right. And then if I come over here, just sent to 4 for 40. And now I'm on 40 meters. And the frequency changes here in the display. So if I sent an 8, and now I'm on 80 meters. So all the switches to the left is 80 meters. All the switches to the right is 20 meters. The connections up here on the top is a BNC for your antenna. Headphones, your keyer, either a straight key or a paddle, and this is only iambic B. There is no iambic A. Power, and then a small on and off button. The display is a 2-line display. Top line is the frequency, and also if you enable the Morse code enunciation, it will display the Morse code that you're sending there. Second line is your code speed. In the default configuration is your code speed, the time, and the voltage. All right, some specs on this. So obviously it's 4-band. It operates on 5 to 13 volts, actually 5.5 to 13 volts. You can see that I'm powering it with a 9-volt battery. It will do a full 5 watts on 12 volts. It's got the 2-line LCD display. It will display your SWR and your power out. You have to go into straight key mode and hold the DA down, and it will, or is it the DIT? It's the DIT. And it will display the power out and the SWR. It's got a clock in it that has a battery, so it remembers the time. It also remembers the frequency that you were on for each band, so if you jump from band to band and then come back to another band, it will remember the frequency that you were on. It only does iambic B, 5 to 31 words per minute in 1 word per minute increments. There are 3 Morse code memories that you can use. You don't want to feed this with more than 13 volts. And I will show you something that I built with some diodes in it to bring the voltage down on my 13.8 Bioenno batteries. And the power jack is a 5.5 millimeter with a 2.5 millimeter pin. So if you want to buy some more power jacks, 5.5 outside, 2.5 millimeter inside. So the up and down arrows here on the left-hand side, they go up and down 50 hertz. So here I'm at 14.060. If I click up the up arrow, it goes up 50 hertz. If I click the down arrow, it goes down 50 hertz. So now I'm back at 14.060. You can do fast tuning by holding it down, and it goes by 100 hertz. And then also, if you hold the RIT button down, it will go by 1 kilohertz. So there it's going up by 1 kilohertz. And you can do the same thing coming back down. 162, 61, 60. And now I'm back down to 14.060. So you've got a RIT button here, which means receive incremental tuning. If you hold the RIT button down, it sends you an R. And yet you can bring the RIT up and down. And then if you click it again, it comes back into the main menu. Hit the function button, you can see R equals T, RIT equals transmit. So that means my RIT is on the same frequency as my transmit. So that's a way that you can check there. All right, let's get into enter message mode. So again, hold the function button down, it cycles through until you get to enter message mode. So down on the bottom row here, you've got exit, CK, RE, and BS. So CK is to check the message or enter the message that you have recorded. The RE is if you want to change the message. And the BS function is if you mess up and you need to go back through, you hit the BS, which is the up arrow, and it will delete the characters that you sent. So let's create a message for memory 1, which is the function button here. Okay, to enter the message, you just go ahead and key, and whenever you send a character, it's going to display on the top line, and then if you give it a space, it is going to display a star. So let's enter in a CQ, DE, AA0Z, and then a K. So I stopped there, and it entered CQ, and then a star. Let's say I wanted to do that over. So I hit the BS button. And it went back to a C, so I want to enter a Q. And then it put a space. I want to do another CQ. Oh, I just entered a Q. So I want to go back. Hit the BS button a couple of times. That erased the character. Oh, I entered DE, but it looked like a B to the unit, so I'm going to erase that. Oh, that was an N. My keyer keeps slipping on me. Oh. I need to enter a Q. Okay, that was a DE, and then my call sign. Then I put a space, and then I wanted to send a K. So that is my string that I want to enter into memory 1. All right, so once the message has been entered, you want to hit the RE button. I'm sorry, the CK button, the RIT button. And it's going to play it back for you. At the code speed that you have entered in initially. So that sounds good. So now it's going to give you the memory locations that you want to enter this in. So I've got a CQ for soda already in memory 1. So I'm going to enter this into memory 2. It says storing. And it's done. All right, now that I'm back at the main menu, now I want to send that memory message. So if you hit the RIT button, which is the second one over from the left, and within a half a second hit your memory button, it will play. So here we go. So I hit the RIT button and the memory too. While you're sending a memory message, if you want to pause the message, you hit the dash. If you want to terminate the message, you hit the dot paddle. So that's how you, if you hear somebody calling and you've hit the memory, you can use your paddle to either pause it or terminate the message in memory mode. So the last menu is the config menu. So you hold the function button down until you get to the config mode, and it sends a P. Here you've got two choices, MD and MA. MD is Morse enunciation on the top row. So if you turn that on, so it sends an on if it's on. It sends an off, OFF, if you've turned it off. OFF. So let's go ahead and turn that on. And let's go back to the main menu. So we're going to hit the exit button. So if I send any Morse characters, it's going to display it where the frequency is displayed right now. Yeah, displayed it in that top where the frequency is, and then once you're done, it goes back to the frequency. Let's go back into the config. Let's turn that off. So it sends an off. MA is for Morse frequency enunciation. So this is an on or off button also. That sends an on. Okay, now I'm back in the regular mode with Morse frequency enunciation on. So if you hit the function button, this mode will enunciate the operating frequency in Morse code, and only 100 kilohertz to 100 hertz decades are sent. Zeros are sent as cut numbers. So that's how that mode works here. So I'm going to hit, so I'm in 14.030, and I'm going to hit the function button, just a quick press, and it's going to announce the frequency. Now to turn that off, go back into config mode. So it's going to display MD and MA. I'm going to turn MA off. And now it's off. Get back into the main menu, hit the exit button. All right, I want to show you some accessories that I've made. So the unit comes with a power cable. I purchased, in addition to the power cable, the 9-volt battery. So I'm going to use that as my backup battery. And this comes unassembled, so you'll need to solder this and assemble the plug. And on the power cable that comes with the unit, I put a green and black Anderson power pole connector to signify that this is not 13.8 volts. And what I did was, this is on the LNR website, is to wire up in series two 1N 4001 diodes. Each diode brings the voltage down about 0.6 tenths of a volt. So I've got two of them in series here. So on this side, with my red and black, I plug in my Bioenno battery that runs at about 13.6 volts. And on this side, I will plug in my connector that has the barrel connector on it that goes into the Mountain Topper. So I know not to plug this in, this barrel connector, into a 13.8 volt power supply. I also have, I bought this, actually I got it at an estate sale. I got this BNC double shielded coax. I also went out and bought some, this is RG174-U, and put some BNC connectors on it. So this will be my backup antenna. This is very small cable. This is about 10 foot. I believe my double shielded is about 6 foot. They also recommend a headphone volume control, because this unit does not have any volume control. So if you get a loud signal, it might blow your ears out. So I got a volume control. This is a COS 155954. I will put a link in the description. If you want to click on those, I get a small revenue by advertising those Amazon sales. This is a mono plug that I use with my recorder. The mic input here is only mono, because a mic is mono. And I use that with a pair of headphone splitters. I plug this into my Mountain Topper. One side goes into my recorder to record the conversation. The other side goes into the headphone jack with the volume and then into my headphones so I can control the level. And this has an automatic level adjuster on it. It's not very good, but it does the trick. So that's how I record the conversation, but also have volume control on my headphones and be able to split the audio to the recorder into my headphones. So that is the menu system and some accessories that I use for the Mountain Topper. Be sure to like and subscribe, and if you have any comments or questions, put them down in the comments below, and I will respond. 73.